Welcome back to the Hit Home Podcast. I'm Natalie Hashka, city girl turned entrepreneur who turned a big dream and a bold house flip into a thriving real estate brand, hitting my first six figures in my 20s. This is where we get raw and real because life, entrepreneurship, and unapologetic womanhood deserve nothing less. I'm navigating life as a strong, independent woman who refuses to shrink, settle, or conform. And if that's you too, then you're in the right place. From personal growth and pop culture to behind the scenes real estate truths, no topic is off limits. I'm so glad you're here. Get ready for unfiltered stories, big laughs, and connections that will seriously hit home. Let's dive in.
For people who don't know you from my audience, which I don't know why they wouldn't, because you're literally like faces all over everything, because I love our work that we do together. But can you share a quick intro about who you are, what you do, and just a little bit about your world and your brand and what you want people to know?
Yeah, so I'm Natalie Hashka, for all the people who don't know me, often referred to as the Real Nat. I kind of got that name early on in real estate. I mean, it's short for Realtor Nat, but it's also because I kept it real and I was authentic. So I loved that it kind of played like two different sides of my personality and like professional and personal. But I'm a realtor. I always say I'm Natalie first and foremost. Real estate is what I do. It's not who I am. And then I naturally fell into this like lifestyle category just by showing up as my authentic self in my stories on Instagram. And so part of my business plan has always been having a podcast and being a host of a podcast. But obviously the timing wasn't right. And so your girl is now officially a host of Hit Home Podcast, plus being a realtor.
I love it.
So hi, everyone. And that's my formal introduction.
I love it. You have that like down to a science. Like, that's great. I'm not good at my own intros. I'll have to practice before we do your podcast.
But like, who the fuck likes talking about themselves though?
Right? Nobody.
Nobody.
Well, I want to get better at it because I'm awesome. So I want to talk more about myself.
You are awesome. Right.
Okay.
Noted.
Yeah, noted. Okay, so let's go back. We're going to go back in time to just before you and I met, which was 2024, like mid 2024.
Yeah.
How were you feeling at that time about how your brand was being presented, just your online presence? Like, where were you when it came to how you felt about your brand, like at that time?
You know, I was in this really like weird transition in my business. And I think I was in a weird transition in my personal life. You know, personally, I was single and ready to mingle. And so I was trying to put myself out there and re-exploring myself and trying to figure out like, who the fuck is Natalie at 40? Because I had just turned 40 last year too. And then professionally, I was in this weird bubble where I knew who I was and I wasn't afraid to like show up in my stories, but I felt like what we were told to be on social media as a realtor was very different than who I was. And so I had this like polished grid that was like prim and proper, but then I was this like fun and spunky Nat in my stories. And so, you know, when you get into real estate, they tell you to relate and connect to people, right? And they're like, post pictures of your husband, post pictures with your kids and your animals. And it's like, motherfucker, what do you do when you don't have a husband and you don't have kids?
Yeah.
And you don't have a dog? So I had to dig deep and I was like, how can I relate? I'm just going to show myself. But I was also kind of scared to do it on my grid where it was like time stamped and it was going to live for a period of time. So I kind of like dabbled and played over here in my stories where I knew in 24 hours it was like gone and it was going to be okay.
Yeah.
And then on my grid, I wasn't putting out anything that was like cringeworthy. So I was torn because I was like, do I take the next step and maybe offend some people, but attract my tribe? Or do I still play it safe and do what everybody else is doing?
Yeah. I can't. There's like so many things I could dissect in this whole thing. Like, yeah, okay, number one, I feel like the single badass woman with like no pets, like no kids, that kind of thing. It's like you are literally forced to dig deep because you that is like
Mhm.
true personal branding, right? Where you can't hide behind photos with your kids and what they're doing or pictures of your husband or these vacations. It's like you actually have to start figuring out who you are and what you stand for and what are the things that you love and what are the things that you connect with people on. Like that to me is like the epitome of identifying what your personal brand is. And it's so easy for people who have all those things to hide behind them. So I love that you had to like, to me, it just showcases so much of who you are and why I love how you show up, because you don't hide behind stuff. And it's just a blessing in disguise that you like didn't have those things to hide behind. Anyways, okay, so that's the first thing.
Thank
The second thing would be that I have such strong memories of our first few conversations when we came into each other's space. And it's so funny that everything you're saying is like, I could really feel that from you so much. So I would love to hear from you what those first few conversations were like with me and what stood out to you, because I feel like even though we had never met, I had such strong insight into this stage of life that you were going through and this internal kind of battle of like how you wanted to be seen. Um, so before I kind of share my perspective on it, I would love to hear from you what you remember from those first few conversations and what really stood out.
Yeah, so first off, you and I met through my previous photographer because she was relocating. And I had obviously said to her, like, who's going to do my photo shoot? Because I loathe photo shoots. And I know you were like, nobody likes it. And I was like, no, 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 girlfriend. Like, I hate this process. Like, good luck to you. Rest in peace. Because I'm not easy to work with. And my bar is so high, of what I set for my own standards. But I distinctively remember two things that you said in my DMs. You and I connected. I followed you, obviously, and then you followed me back. And I think I sent you a message just saying, like, introducing myself, and I got your information from X, Y, and Z photographer.
Mhm.
And so you followed me, you watched my stories and stuff, and then you sent me a message, and it was so hilarious. And you said, I want to know which version of Natalie is showing up to list my house. And I was like, well, fuck you. Like, calling me out on my stuff. Who do you think you are? And I was like, first off, both versions you're going to get. You're going to get the prim and proper, the professional and poised, but you're going to get the girl that throws fuck around a lot and is not going to sugarcoat it and is going to give it to you real. And then you kept watching. And the next time you reached out to me, you were like, Queen, I need to capture this side of you. Let me shoot you. And I gave in. I was like, she sees something that I don't see in myself yet.
Yeah.
So I had to trust you.
Yeah.
And so that's my take on our connection.
I love that. Okay, I love it. The Sagittarius in me is the person that just like gives it to people straight. Like I just with like the best
Yeah.
of intentions, I'm just gonna like tell you what I know you need to hear. And yeah, so I distinctly remember sending you like a screenshot of a post that you had done that stood out on your grid for exactly the reason you were saying. You were playing it very safe on your grid. Your photos were like good and professional, but like, I love the previous photographer, so it's nothing against her, but like they were falling a little bit more into like the standard of what a lot of realtors were showing up as. And then I see this picture, this selfie that you took of yourself in a car, and it shows up on your grid, and I screenshot it and send it to you right away in your DMs. And I'm like, this, like, we need more of this vibe because this is who you are in your stories. This is who I've been
Mhm.
chatting with. And I want the photos to match that energy because like that is your differentiator. Like that is the you that is going to stand out, and the professionalism and how you hold people to a high standard and the way you operate. It's like that's in the way that you interact and the way you deliver on your services, but who you are and like your energy and how you carry yourself. It's like the people choose to work with people because they want to spend time with them. And I was like, we need more people to see that you're just like who you are, because when that's not like filtered through this lens of like I'm a professional realtor, it's like, yeah, no shit, you're a professional realtor, you're successful, all that stuff. Who cares? Do I want to spend time with you driving around to see a bunch of houses or not? Like, yes, I fucking do. So I love that you set the bar very high, because so do I. And I think that was one of the things we like immediately connected on. It was like, I don't want to care about somebody's brand or business more than they do. Like, I'm going to hold you to a higher standard. And because of that, my clients do the same thing for me. And when that happens, it's like fireworks, right? Like, I think that was one of the things that we both connected on and loved about each other, like instantly. Um, so I love our like, it's like our little meet cute story where we're just like,
You
okay.
know, the thing too is like to kind of piggyback on what you're saying. Personally, and I still get this, and I think you can probably attest to this by like truly spending a chunk of time with me and really knowing me. I feel like I'm always really misunderstood online because of how I present, and people don't understand that I have a brand. And so, how I choose to show up versus like who I am in real life, it's two different people. Like when I take selfies, I got like wide face girl problems. Okay. I got big teeth, big lips. I got my Grecian bone structure. But when I smile, I eat my own face. So by choice, I do like a very straight, modest selfie face. It's a resting bitch face, but I'm the furthest thing from a bitch. And to know me in real life, I'm bubbly and I'm so much fun and I'm funny and I'm so down to earth and humble, but you wouldn't be able to pick that up. And so like what you said is like is true. People want to work with people they like, know, and trust.
Mhm.
And so being able to show what you saw, which was my monthly recaps, my life latelys. And I still remember the picture. I had my hand in my hair and it was just
Yeah.
a quick little selfie in the front of my car, which is what I got known for, my head talking reels.
Yeah.
And so you saw something in me and then you got to know me. And like, that's why, like, we have this weird chemistry,
Yeah.
you and I, like from the jump.
Yeah.
We just connected like two old souls who had known each other forever.
Yeah.
But you also capture this side of me that I feel like very few people get to see.
Mm.
And you capture it and allow others to kind of dabble into that world of really who I am behind the scenes.
Yes. Because there's such a softness to you and a vulnerability and a like nice girl energy that like you are kind of the girl next door, which people might not think of right away. Like
Right.
you're like a true blue friend. Like it's like you will like take a bullet for people. Like you're, yeah, like that is you. You have such like a kindness and a softness. And I feel like I have been able to get such that duality through our content, which to me is what makes it so like magical. Like that duality that you carry
Yes.
and being able to like capture it in one shoot is cool.
Ready to make a move in the GTHA? Let's make it happen together. I'd love to help you find your perfect place. Not in the area, but still in Canada? No worries. I've got connections coast to coast. Send me a message and I'll point you in the right direction. And if you've been eyeing the things I share on Instagram, treat yourself. All the links to my Shop My page are waiting for you in the show notes below. Go take a peek and grab your faves. Happy shopping.
And the fact that I think the thing with you and I being entrepreneurs is that we're real visionaries.
Mhm.
We are forward thinkers. So, you know, I know you've seen it, I've seen it. People can't copy you until you make your next move. And I see this with so much in what I do. I don't have a ton of followers yet, but I know that my stuff is impactful and I'm not afraid to come out and make a statement and show who I am. And you very much are always on that tipping edge of the scale of forward thinking and doing things that no one else has seen before. So when you've got two people who come together and can create something like that that's not been done,
Yeah.
right? And it just aligns, that's where magic happens.
Yes. Yes. I love it. Okay, so going back to a little bit of like the tactical side of like our shoot. So you took the leap, you were like, let's do it. You've convinced me. Like you come recommended, let's go. What were you actually hoping to get out of that shoot? So that first one we ended up doing actually like a smaller session to start with, although actually we ended up
Mhm.
doing like almost a full one because we were having such a good time. Um,
Mhm.
but going into that, yes, we connected and all those things, but like what were you really hoping to get out of that?
I think I was looking to get a photo shoot that felt less structured for me. So I had moved away in my business from what everybody else was doing. Like, let's face it, realtors and real estate tend to have a little bit of like a negative stigma. Everybody thinks that we don't work hard enough and we make too much money, and what we do is easy. And so I had made the decision to move away from open houses and solds and just listeds off my grid. I was trying to do something different in the space that I was in. And so I was looking for a shoot that wasn't so basic bitch realtor,
Mm-hmm.
that was more lifestyle focused, like somewhat editorial, but still keeping it warm
Mm-hmm.
and just not so structured, right? Like just showing me who I am,
Yeah.
unhinged. And so it was really just trying to showcase me as a person and not as a realtor. Like it was the interview before the interview. It's who is this chick before I call her to list my house.
Mm, yes. Yes. Okay, so the bar was high. The bar was high about what you were expecting. So,
Yeah.
so what, I guess like a two-part question, because I feel like one is just literally going to flow
Mhm.
into the other anyways. But like what surprised you the most about the process and how I worked? And leading into
Mm.
that, because I think it's going to be like a two-parter where like what actually went through your mind when you saw the results from that process. So what surprised you the most about the process and how I worked with you? And then
Mhm.
what kind of went through your mind when you saw the results of that process?
So I think what surprised me the most was probably how organized you were, because nobody is organized like me, but you were. The attention to detail that you paid, which is also me. And so I loved the fact of how structured it was. Like from the time that I booked it online, we had a meeting on the phone, which I loved. We were able to get the concept down and the vision for it. And then the planning of it, obviously. I show up to the shoot, and this chick, you, have a friggin' storyboard, which I had no clue that you were gonna do. So, like, my storyboard's here, right? But sometimes somebody can't fully grasp that concept, no matter how many things someone sends you off Pinterest.
That's right.
So I love the fact that I show up. It's the first time we meet in person. And again, warm and amazing and like all the cozy feels. So already I'm like, okay, this feels good. This feels like home, right? I love that everything's organized and I see exactly the vision in my head is coming to life and it's on a storyboard.
Mhm.
And there's this blank canvas to be made.
Yeah.
And I just show up. You're the artist. I'm the muse. Everything went so smooth. And then you see the final product, right? And so you've got the vision and then you get the shot in life. And sometimes it doesn't add up. But in our case, it was like, holy fuck, we nailed it. And like, it was like, yes, 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 yes. Like, it was crazy looking at the final project.
Yeah.
So I think that that's all. Like the fact that you do business like me and the fact of it turned out so much better than I thought because I hate photo shoots.
Mhm.
And I hate them for so many reasons. I'm hard on myself. I have to take a whole day off of work. I don't like anything to feel staged. So for me, I don't buy clothes and I don't prep like some other people do. But it's hard showing up on camera and seeing all of your flaws and being the face and brand of your business and having everything like so focused and like the spotlight being you.
Yeah. That's this one of the worst parts about stepping into the role of an icon and not just a business owner, right? Like I love working with women who want to not just run a business, but they want to make an impact. They want to leave a legacy. They want all of those things. Those are my favorite women to work with. And that is not an easy role to kind of constantly have to step into that higher version of yourself and put that out there. But that's why not everybody can do it, right? That's why like you have to be built a certain way. You have to go through it. Like I'm going through that evolution right now where I'm putting my freaking nervous system through hell because I'm just constantly pushing and putting myself in situations over and over and over again that make me feel like I want to throw up. But it's because I want to be somebody in this industry that is recognized and is doing things differently. And you can't do that quietly. You just can't. Not if you want to have
No,
the
like
impact.
no, and like let me take the time out to first like applaud you for doing that because you want to be confident, do something hard. That's one thing I talk about on the podcast. So, everybody wonders how you come out confident. Challenge yourself, and you have to step in this role. And, I get questions on Instagram all the time like, you inspire me, and how do you do this? And I'm like, whether it's in business or whether I'm working out, you need to fucking take emotion out of it.
Yes.
Do I want to wake up and work out every day? No. But I've made a commitment to myself. And so whether I feel like doing it or not, I do it. I do the damn thing because on the other side of hard is what I'm trying to get to.
Yes.
And so I don't love photo shoots, but I do them because one, I have to do them. I'm in an industry where it is expected for me to show up on social media and be the face of my business. And, here's the thing, I will always applaud myself because if I am not buying into what I'm selling, how the fuck am I going to expect somebody else to buy into what I'm selling? If I'm not confident and if I don't believe in myself, ain't nobody buying what I'm selling when it comes to business.
Exactly. Exactly. I feel like there's this expectation when people see, even like I've had people like see the photos of you and be like, oh, she must be so easy to photograph. Like she looks like a model and all this. And I'm like, you don't understand. Like these women aren't coming to me because they're professional models. They're coming to me because they're amazing at what they do. And then they're trusting me to help showcase them in the way that they want to be seen. Like it isn't just like like I don't think that's why I love showing the behind the scenes where I'm literally like moving your body and touching you and like tipping your head and like it's like I'm very hands-on, right? It's like you need somebody to help you step into that version because to rely only on like yourself, it's that thing where it's like lean on the experts, right? To help you take things to the next level. And that's what I love doing for these like iconic, powerful women because you're not models, you're leading industry experts in your field. Like you're not professional models. Like that's not what you do for a living.
And
Yeah.
it's like even myself, I don't love my body. And there's things about my body that just from working with me that, obviously you want to focus on someone's highlights and minimizing their flaws or things that they're insecure
Absolutely.
about.
Yeah.
And even getting like naked in front of you and, my assistants and like the videographer. But to be able to quickly like get into character,
Yeah.
changing outfits.
Yes.
And trying to get as many shots as possible and feeling comfortable, you moving me here and like maybe a nipple or a boobie out over here and like trying to avoid, but it's just about the shot. And that's why you have to feel comfortable with someone like yourself.
Yeah. Actually, that leads me perfectly into the next thing I want to talk about, which is ongoing
Yeah.
collaboration. So for me, a big thing heading into 2026 is that I want to create more of a retainer experience for people because I think there's so much power in relationships. I've always been a relationship person, right? I've always had, it's like that quality over quantity. And I feel like I want to infuse more of that concept into my business. And I want to have, a few close relationships with people that I can then work with on an ongoing basis. So you and I have had the opportunity to work together more than once, which is amazing. So I would just love to know, how does working together more consistently kind of change the way that you approach the shoots, or even just like, I mean, you've kind of already spoken to this, but like the confidence or the comfortability of going into these shoots when you know that we have already kind of established that relationship.
Help us spread the love one home at a time. And if you enjoyed this episode, please rate, review, and share the podcast. It means so much, and it might just make someone else's day. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you want to keep in touch, come say hi on Instagram at The Real Nat.
Well, I think a couple things to note. I mean, if you're talking in general, anything in life that you do more frequently, you get better at, right? So I think the idea is like doing more shoots, I get better at learning my angles and my poses and what I want to capture. And you get to learn from that too, because spending time with me, you get to learn me too as a person and my brand and what I'm trying to emulate and put out to the world. But I also think that when you do it more frequently too, there's like less pressure to try and have this like one shoot that you do once a year, which like I'm notoriously guilty for, where we put so much pressure on it to capture everything. And so I think that if we just looked at it like, this is something that we do, whether it's seasonally or biannually, where you're building a relationship where someone can highlight your best work or your best features or what's saleable to your market. And then I show up and I'm like, I'm just going to approach this like anything else. We're just going to keep doing it to keep getting uncomfortable, to get more comfortable, and to get better. And so that relationship just constantly builds. And I think when you have that chemistry that you and I have, then it's just like easy to make that magic that I talked about earlier happen.
Yeah, exactly. For me, it's always this like concept that we're not starting from scratch every time, right? Like I already get your brand. And also, it's not like we only talk once during the shoots. It's like we're now in each other's lives, and I get to see the evolution of your brand and what you're building. And like we get to actually know each other. So I get a sense of what you're building and where you want to go so that I can bring things to the table that almost like help kind of catapult you to some of those bigger goals, right? It's like, well, you've been talking a lot about this. So what if we tried XYZ at the next one, right? Like that is some of my favorite ways to collaborate with my clients, because it's like this compounded strategy, right? And like we get to really like build on things, which I love. So if we're like not talking about necessarily like just the photos themselves, because I believe that the things that I create go far beyond just like an image, but it is more about like impacting people's overall brands. What do you think that having that like creative relationship with me how has that impacted your brand overall over this last like year or so? So if we look at like not just the visuals, but like messaging or just how you're showing up online or how you're going after things in your brand, like how has our ongoing creative relationship impacted that, if at all?
Yeah, so I think that you pushing me out of my comfort zone to show up on my grid the way that I was showing up for years in my stories has really just given me like a level of I am one of the most confident women. Like, and to know me, you know that about me. With all my flaws, I've been through a lot in my life like yourself. And so I'm very confident in general. But it was just like this feeling of like, okay, I can relax. Like, this is who I am. Take it or leave it. If you don't like it, unfollow me. I don't need you on my page. And, for the people who show up and they don't like a thing, honestly, I'm okay with that too, because they keep the algorithm going for me, which they don't see. So I will take the fans, the supporters, I will take the haters, everybody who wants to lurk, because they're all there for a purpose. And it's very cyclical. And you have to understand this in business. I think it's just given me this level of like, I don't give a fuck.
I love that.
This is who I am authentically. Yeah, like authentically me.
Yes.
And I'm not going to apologize for being who I am. You know, like I also think that people naturally put us into like a box. Oh. So for me in the last year, it's very interesting to see what people like. And it's like, I can be the girl that wears oversized sweatpants and Nikes. I can be the girl that wears a bodycon dress and shows my cleavage. I can be the girl that works out. I can be the girl that likes to go out for bougie, expensive restaurants and is a foodie. The girl that gets her nails done. The girl that can go to the cottage with no makeup. And I'm okay showing all these sides of me. I don't have to be just this one version that somebody sees of me. And so I also think that the work we've done together truly allows people to see that there are many sides to me and to women. Like, that's our prerogative. You know, I've always said this too about fashion, right? Fashion lets women emote who they are and what they're feeling on any given day. I want to not be seen and be cozy. You know, you might see me in an oversized hoodie doing errands, still with my makeup and hair done. Don't get me wrong, that will always be done. But like, you might see that version of me doing groceries. And then you might see a totally different version of me on another day, but it's all Natalie.
Yeah, but what I love about like bringing a brand to life is you do get to pick and choose like the perception that you want people to have. And that's like where some of the fun gets to come into, right? Like we get to play with like, what version of those do we want to create and lean into, and like, how are people going to respond to those different sides? And it's so fun. It's so fun. Okay.
Yeah.
So because we're business owners, we are people who are ambitious. I love a good like ROI conversation. So like tangible results. Are you getting a return on your investment? So have you noticed any tangible results or direct ROI, whether it's like opportunities or new clients or just even an increase in like visibility or anything like that from the work that we've done? So since we've started working together and the kind of content that you and I have created together, have you noticed any kind of tangible results?
Yeah. So, I mean, first and foremost, as a business owner and entrepreneur, I obviously track everything. I'm a numbers person, right? I think in business, if you're a real entrepreneur, and I think that term is like used very like loosely now, in my opinion. Everybody says they're an entrepreneur, and they're not really making many moves in life.
Yeah.
You know, so you have to know your numbers, right? And you cannot measure what you don't manage in life. It's a very common saying.
Oh, I love that.
So you have to track.
Can we say that again? Like you cannot measure. Wait, what was it? You can't manage.
You can't measure what you don't manage in life.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
Right?
Yes.
And vice versa. You can't manage what you don't measure. Like you have to track everything to be able to measure it. And it's all data. It's not negative, right? It's like when we work out and we lose weight, we're weighing ourselves, we're taking measurements, we're logging calories. These are all data points. They're not good, bad, or indifferent, but it gives you something to go back and look at and to put pieces together to figure out the puzzle. Yeah. And the same thing goes with a business. So yes, there's obviously measuring points in my business. I'm constantly getting more followers week by week on both of my accounts. I am getting more viewers and listeners on the podcast, obviously. As far as people commenting and giving feedback, they can see the difference in my branding. They can see the shift and the evolution. And I always say too, if you're not looking at your content from even a year ago and cringing, you ain't growing. Because you should look back at your content and cringe a little bit. Otherwise, like, you're not evolving in your brand if you still like it.
I love that.
But yeah, I mean, like everything is totally measurable. I mean, as far as business goes, I've always had like a very large focus on being educational. Like that is where my biggest focus is. You can spend all the time you want with clients. You can bring in all the deals that you bring in and make all the money. But for me, it's like, it's giving back and educating and putting the power into the consumer so they can make an educated decision. And so that's always been my focus. So yeah, I'm obviously seeing both my businesses grow and all of the metrics grow. This fall's been really interesting for me though, because everything is like very slowly creeping up in like the respect of so many different areas. And so I just sit back and I'm like, what's happening here? Like, are we on a tipping point of like something may be happening here? Because it's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
With everybody. Like if you buy into what you're offering, and if you really are passionate about what you do and you feel like you have something special to offer the world, it's a win.
Yes.
That's what it's about. It's going to happen. It's just a matter of time if you just keep at it.
Yeah. And
I mean, everything's creeping up.
I like having like an inside scoop. I don't want to give anything away because I don't know when this is gonna like be put out there, but like I know that you are on the cusp of like growing things in lots of different avenues and wanting to like expand and really like taking your brand to the next level. So it'll be really interesting to see what happens even just like over the next 6 months with like
I know
that stuff. Like it's gonna be, I love having like a front row seat to that kind of stuff. It's so exciting. It's so exciting. It's so exciting.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me see like where I'm at with this. So I feel like we've like covered so much of these things. I guess like what I'm offering is much more of like a premium experience. And I don't want to even be playing in the same field as, you know, what most people consider themselves to just be brand photographers. Like I feel like I'm ready to be in a level all on its own. I want to really lean into giving people these full day experiences. You're taking the day off anyways. You get all the photos, you know, I basically just take care of you from beginning to end, creative direction, strategy, like delivery, like all of those things. So if you were to kind of describe, and I know you and I have worked together in different capacities and as my own, you know, services are evolving, you might not have like a direct like comparison, like apples to apples, but you know the value of the experience of working with me. If somebody was going to invest at that level, like how do you describe to them the value of all those things beyond just like a straight up deliverable of like, yeah, she comes and takes photos. Like, how do you describe that value as a client of mine of what you get when you're investing at that level of working with somebody like me?
Yeah. I think in business, it only takes like 5 minutes to learn what a shopper is looking for. I've never been a price shopper. I think that if you set the bar so high of what you offer someone, people don't look at the cost.
Yeah.
I buy luxury cars. I buy them. Yeah, I can afford them, but I buy them because I like the experience and the service. I like the fact of I show up and I can get a manicure while I get an oil change, or I can get a car complimentary as a loaner. You know, there's so many different benefits you get. And I look at you the same way. So first off, you are like no other photographer. Your whole experience is so different and unique as far as what you offer. And so I think it's like MasterCard, right? It's priceless. And I think that's how people have to look at things, right? Because you can't put a number or a value on certain things in life. And so I come into a shoot with you and you are taking full direction and you are fully hands-on and we're not keeping our eye on the clock. And you are just as invested as I am in my own business. And so, you know, I've worked with photographers where they show up and they just take the shot. But there's so much more than just pushing down a button on a camera. And it's being able to see something, no pun intended, but through a different lens. And you do that, right? Like you can see that shot before you've taken it. Yeah. And you also know how to make the shot 10 times better than it could be just by moving an inch or changing the lighting or whatever it is. And I just feel like your attention to detail and the way that you just take control of the whole process is unmatched by anyone that I've ever worked with.
Yes, I love being in control. I love bossing people around. It's my favorite. So I'm glad I found a job that I can do exactly that.
This.
And I get to dress up these beautiful women as dolls and just pose you guys and take your picture. Oh, it's great. It's great. Okay, well, that is like amazing to hear in somebody else's words because I've always felt like and it's so funny, like talk about being misunderstood at the beginning of this conversation, as a child, like I never felt like I could fit in a box. I always had like conflicting different sides of my personality, or like I was this super sweet, nice girl, but I was also so tough that if you messed with my friends, I would like punch you in the face. Like people just didn't know what to do with me ever. And growing and evolving and creating my own business and figuring out what I want to do and how I want to create services. And it's taken me a really, really long time because you kind of model your services and your business after what you see out there. And I've never been able to find, like, even when I discovered brand photography and I was like, it was like a light switch going on, like, oh yeah, this is what I'm meant to be doing. It still didn't fit within the confines of what other people were doing in brand photography. So I love that I've been able to create something very much outside the box while still serving people with something that's going to give them that direct ROI, but it's like goes so far beyond just like the photos. It's like it's about really helping people to stay like fully committed and grounded and present in who they are at that like specific moment in time so that they can continue to like take those steps forward. So like by putting that trust in me and relinquishing a bit of that control, it's like I got you. Like I'm going to help you get to that next step, and it's like it's so incredibly rewarding for me to see just like the transformation of people through this process. And like, yeah, the photos, great. Like, yes, we love seeing the photos, but it's always how somebody walks away from that shoot or responds to how they see themselves. Like, I love showing you the
Right.
back of my camera in shoots because, like, you're like, I don't want to see, like, don't show me. And then I'm like, no, you have to see this. And you're like, damn, like, you're always like, what the fuck?
But like, you're such a hype, like I'm a hype woman, but you're such a hype woman too. So I love when you're like, these are bomb fire, because it gets me fucking excited. And I'm like, okay, work it, give it, girl, give it, because you get to see what's happening. And so
I get
we're like
so
going
excited.
in the right.
Like I've been totally like have caught myself like I get so into shoots that the joke now with like this I did a shoot with like a bunch of women. It was like back to back. And like the joke the whole time was like that there was like sex noises like coming out of like the photography room because I just get so into it. I'm like, yes, right there. Like don't move. Like that's like I clearly just get super into these sessions and I love it so much. Oh my goodness.
And I want to quickly too, because you made a comment about, the way that you were creating your business was based on what other people were doing. And so I think we all do that. And I talked about this on the podcast. I think one of the biggest misconceptions about myself, because I live in my stories and I show up 7 days a week on social media, is that people think that I'm on social media and that I'm scrolling and in feeds. And the truth is, I stay off of social media, and I stay off of social media for a lot of reasons. First of all, like I create, I don't consume content. So I get on and I showcase who I am. And honestly, I get the fuck off. I get the fuck off for a few reasons. One, I never feel better about myself when I'm on social media for a prolonged period of time. But two, when you're on social media, it skews your outlook. All you do is look at every other person and you see what they're doing. And then you naturally and innately want to follow the leader. And so for me, as someone who is so artistic, it's better that I don't have that in the back of my head. And so that when I want to do something, I just do it. I don't care what's trending. I don't care what this person's doing over here and that one's doing over here. I'm just like, I'm going to do it. Let me be the first. If it doesn't do well, oh well. onwards and upwards. Let's move to the next thing. And if it does well, let me be the trendsetter and let somebody else copy it.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. Like I am so like leaders lead, like lead, don't consume, right? And also with like the trending comment. Yeah, like I'm not here to make trendy like content with my clients. I'm here to make content that is so you and so iconic for who you are in your brand. We want people copying us. Like I know I've seen shoots where like I've done it with clients and then I start seeing that shit everywhere and I'm like, all right, like we're doing something right here if we're like setting the tone for what could happen.
That was our first shoot together.
Yes.
Within a few weeks, we were messaging each other and I was like, so many people that are following me are literally copying exactly what we did. And I hadn't even pushed out a fraction of my content. It was just mostly like behind the scenes at that time.
I know. Like all this, like the stuff on the ground and like all that stuff. Yeah, I remember that. And then I remember each like the next shoot we did, or like our recent shoot, I was like, yep, no, like I've seen that too many places. Like there was something we were gonna do, and I was like, no, I've seen that too many places. Like, no, we're doing something else. Like, let's go. We'll create something.
That's exactly it.
And then we fucking got that like Kim Kardashian shot with the Oreos. Ugh.
Oh, that was so good.
Like,
oh my gosh.
So good.
I know.
So good. Okay.
And that wasn't even part of the original shoot though. That just kind of came naturally.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. But that's why having that at that time where we're not constrained to looking at the clock, like it's so key. It's just it's so important for just like even my creativity to be able to lean into, like you said, like you're my muse. Like absolutely you are. And when I see things in the moment, then we can actually just like play and have fun. So is there anything else about the experience of working with me, or even just like how I work, or anything that you think people like absolutely need to know that I would be really bad at explaining to somebody, like, but you as my client, like, what am I missing? What do people need to know about working with me, whether it's for these high level shoots or if it's for, this longer term collaboration of these retainer packages?
I'm going to go back to what I said earlier. I think a lot of people just look at a photographer and that's all they're thinking about is like, a photographer is a photographer and what's their price and what are they offering me? And I think people need to realize that you're so much more than a photographer and you're a true, like myself, someone recently said to me out at a dinner party, you're an artist in your own right. Like, look at you and what you're doing with the podcast. And I was like, fuck yeah, she's right. And you are an artist in your own right as well, right? You're not just showing up and you're not just taking photos. And so I think people need to realize that when you're looking at a photographer, you can't go on price, and that all photographers, just like realtors, are not created equal. That's something that a lot of people need to understand out there that are looking to potentially work with you. And so I think it's just your whole package and how you show up, from the organization and the detail that you put in the beginning of planning, the execution that you have on site with the whole like artistic flow, and making sure that we have captured everything before we call it a wrap is really important. And then something else that, I'm going to toot my own horn when I toot yours here, your follow-up is great. So like you can do all those things, but if you don't deliver, and if there's no follow through at the end, you haven't done business well. And so, knowing how particular I am, and making sure that the photos are exactly what we want. And, you and I are going through them together. And if I have a question, or if something needs to be brightened because maybe it's a little too dark, or an editing tool that I'm unaware of with my marketing team, like you're always accessible. And you do want to make sure that that product is delivered. And it's what I call in my industry, it's the after sale service that people always fucking fall on. It's like you can do everything up until the target point, but what happens afterwards? How are you nurturing your client afterwards? And so you and I consider you a friend. And I love that you and I have this like respectful access to one another where, I'm not going to abuse your contact. I'm only going to reach out to you when I need something. But when I need something, it's legit. And you could reach out to me at any time. And I love that about you. So again, I think it's just the whole process from start to finish And you're just so much more than a photographer. Like, it's just really unmatched. Like, just the whole idea of like you being a visionary and taking like full control as far as like being on set. It's really rare.
Oh, I love it. Okay, we're going to wrap this up with you. So what is next for you? And what does this like next chapter look like? And like whether it's, you know, your brand or even not, but like what does the next chapter look like for you? What can people expect to see?
You know, I, again, am still I'm at a new phase now. You know, last year I was at a different phase. I worked through that. Now I'm in a totally different phase again, you know, and I think that's the beauty of womanhood. And the basis of the podcast is womanhood, you know? And so this is a new chapter and a new era of Nat. And I feel like I get more unhinged and I give less and less about what people think about me the older I get. And there's like this beauty of feeling so comfortable in your skin. And so, you know, the podcast is going to continue to grow. I've got so many plans around that. But I think season 4 was really about navigating the podcast solo, which came with like a lot of imposter syndrome. Season 5 and onwards, I have so many plans. I want to interview like you and other people, a ton of female entrepreneurs, because that's very close to my heart. And I want to highlight my interviewing skill set. I want to take the podcast abroad. That's always been the plan. I want to like go and interview people and walk up to them on the sidewalks in different countries and see the difference in cultures. As far as real estate goes, you know, I've been toying a lot lately. I mean, whether I change brokerages, whether or not I stay where I am, but the focus will always remain the same, is that I'm client focused and I want to stay boutique-y. I'm not looking to scale my business so much that my people become a number. So I would always rather stay smaller and do quality and not quantity and offer the best service, where I have to put $0 into marketing and my people just are a walking billboard for me because I do what I say I'm going to do and I deliver. What happens as far as like where my focus goes? Like right now it's 50-50 with podcast and real estate. But I think I'm naturally just going to let's see what God has in store for me. And if the podcast pops off, and I need to go more of that direction, I'll go that direction. And I think that's the beauty, is that the future's unwritten.
Oh, so exciting. There's like, sky's the limit for you. Like it's, yeah.
And you.
Like it's amazing. I love surrounding myself with people who are just as ambitious as me and are going places. And it's like, yeah, I'm so honored to have you in my life as a client and a friend. And it's just, yeah, I know that this is just the beginning of our working relationship, but also like our friendship as well. So I'm so grateful to you.
Agree.
That's a wrap. Consider this episode officially tied with a bow. Thanks for hanging out today as we got real, raw, and unfiltered about life, womanhood, and everything in between. If this episode hit home for you, tap those stars, subscribe, and make sure you don't miss the next one. Remember, we're here for real conversations and raw connections. So don't stop here. Come find me on Instagram @TheRealNat and say, hey, loved this episode? Share it and tag me. I love seeing what resonates with you, and it helps me keep the free content coming. Until next time, on the podcast that always feels like home.